I thought I'd say a little bit about a subject that's dear to my heart that I've been doing a lot of thinking on, and it's about structure. Because this meditation group actually is a really important structure for me. I think structure is one of the big kind of problems of meditation, either the structure of how you even get to meditate in the first place, and then the structure of what form itself kind of holds you when you're doing a practice. And it's the first one that I've been thinking a lot about, because I realize that there's sort of like two camps of people in the world. And so I'm curious what camp you guys are in, because I'm sure it's a mix. Camp one is people who are just good with structure, who are good at kind of self-starting and organizing themselves. They're good at making routines and staying with them. And my God, my whole life I've envied those people because those people have an easy time getting a meditation practice off the ground. They may have challenges within the practice itself. They still are challenged by what practice to do. There's any number of issues that can still be there, but at least the issue of making time for practice, they can kind of get a handle on. They can kind of figure out how to work that out. Not me. This has been my challenge my whole life. Super hard for me to make the time for practice. Once I'm sitting, I'm good. I know what to do. Challenges come up, but I've figured out kind of how to work with that. It's the challenge of getting there in the first place. And I think this is a really brutal situation for people who are like that, because it's like basically it's an issue with your own brain structure. Like, your unstructured people are trying to use their unstructured brains to create structure. And it's this catch-22. It's super hard to do. It's like the thing itself that you're trying to fix yourself with is messed up. That's definitely what it's like with ADD, because you don't have good executive level kinds of stuff. So around organizing and this kind of thing. So how do you work with that? Well, if you don't have the resources endogenously to naturally be good at creating structure, then you bring in structure from the outside. You basically take an external structure and you put it over top, and you let your nervous system move into that. And that's what this weekly thing is. It's a regular weekly structure where you can kind of go, okay, I know this thing is happening. I don't have to, I've made an obligation to it, whatever it is, and that you can kind of take that structure. That's why people go on retreats. That's for me why I teach. It's like, I realized at a certain point, the main reason I teach is so I can freaking meditate, because I won't do the meditation otherwise, or I'll do it in motion and these kinds of things. And we can talk about that those are legit, but some of that's kind of half-assed. It's mostly I signed myself up for retreats. I signed myself up for teaching gigs, and then I got to meditate. And there's other things like that I do too. Like, that's why I think the apps are cool, because the apps, they give you little mini structures, little mini guided practices that you can kind of do on the fly. So I actually use 10% Happier app all the time. I starting to use Calm. I use Insight Timer because it creates a little bit of a structure for me. Another way to create structure is you do a weekly sit like we're doing here, or you actually go to one, or you create accountability with friends. So it's like, okay, you promise a friend that you'll do it with them, and now you might neurotically screw yourself over, but you're not going to screw over your friend. So these ideas of like the structure, and then this is what's really cool. These structures, like, how do I explain this? We use these external structures to kind of give us structure. And then within the structure, what does meditation do? Meditation creates a more structured brain. People often think that meditation, it's about the big special effects like love and bliss and oneness, and that's all awesome stuff, and that can definitely happen. But I've found that the really big special effects of that kind, mostly they happen to a minority of people. For most people, the reward flavor of meditation is actually sanity, settledness, clarity. It's a kind of structure in your experience that then allows you to create more structure in the rest of your life, to figure out how you want to do things. So the benefits of practice itself make you better at creating structure to do more practice. And so it's sort of like you use the external structures while you need them. And at a certain point, and then that you do the work, and it's sort of like tiding you over. The external structures are kind of there tiding you over until the internal work you do from the sit kind of catches up. And then you're no longer as dependent on that, although you still may be. and the internal climate around structure starts to change a bit. So those are just some thoughts about that. It's why its community is so freaking important, to have some place you can go that can be like a container to hold you, you know, and that's why one of the reasons I'm super grateful to have this night, because it just basically lets me kind of get in the zone for, you know, for meditation, to do the meditation, to guide it, to kind of try to hold space for it. That forces my own nervous system to kind of rally in a way I wouldn't just for myself.